North Carolina one of many double-digit seeds, PJ, that I think that we should go ahead and discuss because the last 16 tournaments, we have seen a double-digit seed make it to the Sweet 16. So a double-digit seed getting out of the first weekend and heading into the second weekend. And I wrote down seeds 10 through 13. If you want to make a case for a 14 seed or a 15 seed or even a 16 seed, PJ, knock yourself out. I'll hear you out if you want to make that case. But I just wrote down the odds for the seeds 10 through 13 and their odds to make the Sweet 16. And the 10 seeds that we have, New Mexico, Vanderbilt, Utah State, and Arkansas. The 11 seed, now North Carolina firmly is an 11 after last night. VCU, the winner of Texas Xavier tonight, and Drake. And then our 12s, UC San Diego, Liberty, McNeese, Colorado State, and then the 13 seeds, Yale, Akron, High Point, and Grand Canyon. PJ, 16 straight years. We've gotten a double-digit seed to make it to the Sweet 16. Who is your double-digit seed to continue that trend?
I think it's North Carolina. That would probably be my first pick. I mean, we talked about them the first couple segments. I think the way that the bracket sets up for them, the way that they're playing right now, I think to me that would be the leader in the clubhouse. If you're looking at a double-digit seed, that would kind of be the team that I would look at. But don't sleep on tonight's playing game either. I think the winner of Xavier and Texas, the path that they get as well, playing Illinois, who's just, I mean, good luck trying to figure out what kind of effort you're going to get from them every single night. And then Kentucky is a 3 seed. Look, Femi, I know you guys on this show, your big upset could be potentially Bryant over Michigan State, which I kind of love. My big upset's Troy over Kentucky. I think Kentucky's going down for the second straight year in a row because nobody thinks it's going to happen, right? Surely Kentucky isn't losing again in the 3-14. That's why they got rid of Calipari, right? To bring in Mark Pope. This isn't going to happen. Kentucky, they're not losing again to a 14. So I think the bottom of the Midwest region where Houston is the 1 seed and Tennessee's the 2, I think could get a little nuts there. And with all the talk right now about UNC and them kind of being like the playing team that could go far, I don't feel like a lot of people are going to talk about tonight's playing game. I don't know, Femi. This might just be the year where we get like both playing games where the winner like does some damage. You know, we saw Texas win a couple of games in the SEC tournament. Xavier's one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They played a really good game against Marquette in the Big East tournament. So again, with the way that bracket sets up, like Illinois, any given night, you just don't know what you're going to get. Kentucky's probably the worst of the 3 seeds. I think there's a chance for both of those playing games to make it to the Sweet 16. So those would be the teams for me that I would look at.
There we go. And the odds suggested on the North Carolina front, because like I agree with you, I think it's North Carolina. I do believe North Carolina is going to make it to the Sweet 16. That's something that I have in my bracket because the Tar Heels have that kind of upside. They're now plus 400 to get to the Sweet 16. So like the market has essentially caught up to how good North Carolina is. In fact, they're favored against Ole Miss in their first round game coming up on Friday. But another team that has rather short odds that we've yet to see play in the NCAA tournament is UC San Diego. I'm curious to get your thoughts here, to where there are people who love Michigan. There are people who love UC San Diego. We had John Fanta on of NBC and Fox Sports. Field of 68 does a great job covering college basketball. He was on with us yesterday, PJ. He has UC San Diego in his Final Four. He has them knocking off Auburn. Like that, you get a wide variety of thoughts with UC San Diego and where they're at. Where are you at with the Tritons of UC San Diego?
Yeah, I'm certainly not there with Fanta on UC San Diego. This is probably so my 2 favorite games of the first round, Femi, are Missouri Drake. I'm in love with that game. I can't wait to watch. It's my favorite game. And then UC San Diego, Michigan. I can't wait either because Michigan right now, like people are in such a love-hate relationship with that team. Mostly hate, but there's a little bit of love after winning the Big Ten tournament. So what's interesting about college basketball in the first round is every year it feels like there is one trendy upset that always hits, right? It was James Madison last year when they knocked off Wisconsin. A couple of years ago when like Tony Bennett's team, Virginia was a 4, they played Ohio with Jason Preston. Everybody was on Ohio. They won that game. Like there are usually upsets that everybody's on and a couple happen every single year. This could be one of those. Like, it certainly could. UC San Diego's a terrific team. They have one of the best coaches, not only in, like, their conference, but all of college basketball. Eric Olin is incredible. I mean, that's a great academic school. He's playing with like D2 caliber players, and he's got him as like a top 40 KenPom team. They're great on defense. They won 30 games this season. I just think, Femi, that we're kind of discounting that, like, Michigan's got a pretty good coach, too. I mean, Dusty May took FAU to the Final Four. This was a team that only played 2 games in the tournament, just 2, before Dusty May arrived, and he rattled off 4 straight, and they went to the Final Four. And, I mean, you think about what Michigan has done on neutral courts this season. They won the Big Ten tournament. Look at who they went and played like early on in the season. They smashed Xavier. They played some high-scoring games against Arkansas and Oklahoma that they lost by like a point or 2 that could have gone either way. So they've been playing really good on these neutral floors. Dusty May, good March coach. And what's interesting about this game is which way you want to attack it. If you're back in UC San Diego, you're talking about the fact that Michigan loves to turn the ball over and the Tritons have the best assist-to-turnover ratio in the country. If you're backing Michigan, you're talking about the fact that they're just going to have a massive size advantage. UC San Diego doesn't have a player who's taller than 6'8" that they play, and Michigan's got the Twin Towers down low, the 2 7-footers with Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden. So I tend to go with the latter, Femi. Certainly, I'm worried about Michigan's guards. I mean, that's the weakness of their team. You need good guard play to win in March, which is ultimately why I don't think they go very far. But this is a team and a coach that understands where they can exploit UC San Diego, and that's certainly in the front court with their big guys. They do such a good job of getting those guys the ball consistently. So it's going to be a great game. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest if UC San Diego won, but I do like Michigan quite a bit. You know, I think that even after winning the Big Ten tournament, everybody's still not sold on this team. This is the highest rated 12 seed. It just feels like the perfect upset, but it just, for me, it's just way too trendy, and I don't think this is going to be the trendy upset that hits. So I like Michigan in the game.
Yeah, it's a late night game tomorrow night in Denver between UC San Diego and Michigan. I know that's one of the angles I think a lot of people are playing, at least in the market, to where it's like, hey, Michigan had to go and play those grueling games in the Big Ten tournament. They played all the way up until Sunday afternoon. Now it's a quick turnaround. Thursday, West Coast trip at altitude. Could be a little bit tricky, but I don't care. I think Michigan's just a better team. I think this has the potential to be like Michigan by like 12 to 15 points. Like, I think that's where we're at here. This is going to be my biggest bet of the first round, PJ. It's on Michigan laying the 2.5. I agree with everything that you said. In addition to, like, and I put this into the chat a little bit earlier ago because it just hit me as you were talking. And I was, like, just thinking about Michigan and, like, how people don't like them because they play a lot of close games. It feels a little like, to me, like that Providence team from a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. The team that when Providence had just winning a bunch of close games, like, and everyone was just like dying to fade Providence in the tournament. And I believe their first round game was it South Dakota State who they played?
South Dakota State,
in the first round?
And they were only like a 2-point favorite, Femi.
Yeah, it was like 1.5 or 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they blasted South Dakota State. Everyone's like, "Oh, I love the Jackrabbits. This is my upset." Because I want to say Providence was the 5 seed, so it was like a 12-5 game or whatever.
It was. Baylor Shireman was on that South Dakota State team who played for Creighton like a couple of years after that.
Baylor Shireman, shout out to him and that Creighton team that should have made the Final Four, but then lost to San Diego State. Funny enough, but like it feels like that to me, where Michigan is just being penalized for playing in the close games. And yeah, close games can be lucky. And like usually you flip a coin 100 times, eventually it's going to go the other way and you're not going to be able to continue to land on tails or whatever it is, your desired outcome. So yeah, Michigan, do they play with fire a little bit? They do. But their coach is also awesome, like PJ mentioned, Dusty May, who's made a Final Four. And they're just bigger and more athletic than UC San Diego. I guess UC San Diego can definitely win the game. I don't see it happening. I think people are more so itching to fade Michigan. This is not the time to do it. There's going to be a time eventually, but I don't think it's with the Tritons coming up tomorrow night. So I think UC San Diego as a potential double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16, they're crossed off my list because I don't think they get out of tomorrow night's game against the Michigan Wolverines. And they're right now plus 375. They have shorter odds, PJ, to make the Sweet 16 than North Carolina, who's favored in their game coming up on Friday. That's how much this UC San Diego love has really taken off over the last couple of months, and especially this last week after the bracket was released. Real quick before we had to break, any other double-digit seed that stand out to you, or is it just North Carolina that you trust to make it to the Sweet 16?
Another one I really like, actually, is Liberty. And I've talked about Oregon a bunch on this network, and I love the Ducks. But, Femi, think about it. A lot of these 5-12 matchups are getting a ton of love, right? Obviously, UC San Diego. Colorado State's favored as a 12. McNeese is very popular, and their head coach, Will Wade, just accepted the NC State job. Nobody's talking about Oregon Liberty. Like, I think we already just expect, like, Oregon's going to win that game. Liberty can shoot, and they're tough to prepare for. I think Oregon's on upset alert. So Liberty's actually the only 12 seed I have winning. I like them.